Salim, as we speak, President Donald Trump is in India, touring your home country. And the response there, according to the media, has been historic, momentous, as he visited with Melania the Taj Mahal, historic sites there, including the place where Mahatma Gandhi first had his strikes, making salt. And that is in stark contrast to the way the American mainstream media are presenting this visit. There's an article in American Thinker by Thomas Lifson, which highlighted a tweet from CNN, which says, President Trump, whose diet is often a rotation of steaks, burgers, and meatloaf, faces a potential shock as he prepares to travel to India, where Hindus are the majority and cows are revered as sacred. He brings this tweet out as to exemplify mainstream media's Trump derangement syndrome and to take advantage of any opportunity to embarrass the man. And here's a man, President Trump, who's been all over the world. He is not shocked by anything that he sees. He knows full well the demographic makeup of India, if not most countries in the world, their diets, their culture. He is a traveled man, a man of the world. For CNN to suggest otherwise is nothing but a cheap, tawdry attempt to disgrace their own president when here he is adored by over 125,000 people in a stadium in India. Like I say, you were from India, Salim. What's your take on all of this?
Well, let's put aside CNN and all the others, never Trumpers, Democrats, New York Times, Washington Post. Let's put them aside. This is the fox calling sour grapes, and let's put this visit of President Trump, the 36-hour state visit to India, both in the larger perspective or context of world politics, and also the special situation that is at play in President Trump as the leader of the world's oldest and greatest and most powerful Republican democracy, a state visit to India, the world's largest democracy. By the way, I was born in India, but it's not my home anymore. I am a Canadian. This is my home. But it is a special delight. It is absolutely a special delight to watch and to read and to hear what is available on the internet about President Trump's visit to India. I mean, this was an awesome, awesome reception given to him in Ahmedabad, Gujarat. Ahmedabad is the capital of Gujarat, the province on the west coast of India, which is also the home province of the Prime Minister of India, Prime Minister Narendra Modi. And so it was quite interesting that the president entry into India begins with landing in the home province of the Prime Minister of India, whom he met 5 or 6 months ago in America when Prime Minister Modi was visiting the United States. And there was a huge rally that was arranged by Indo-Americans in Houston, Texas, called, I believe it was trumpeted as Howdy Modi.
Howdy Modi, yes.
Howdy Modi. And this is the reception in Ahmedabad, where President Trump was greeted by over 120,000 people gathered there in attendance in what is presumably the world's largest cricket stadium. Indians are crazy about cricket. And so it's the world's largest cricket stadium. And the scenes from there that I have seen, hopefully it will be shown in the mainstream media, the television, at least by Fox News and others this evening because of the time difference. But it's already up on the internet through the Indian television broadcast. So it was an awesome, magnificent reception where Modi greeted President Trump with a huge, warm, and intimate embrace. I mean, that was quite a sight to see the two men embracing each other. And beyond the embrace of the two men as the leaders of these two great countries, United States and India, is also the symbolism of what this embrace means. And I hope we'll get a chance to talk about it. And the warmth from the people all around, and the warmth of the speech that with which Modi in Hindi greeted the president, and then the president's response with the opening words, "America loves India." And the warmth with which President Trump responded, and then the speech in which he talked about both India's achievement and where India is headed under the leadership of Prime Minister Modi, who was elected last year with over, 500 million people voting. That's something in the range of 600 to 800 million people voting. And he got a landslide majority. So it's a majority government. It's an amazing spectacle of India going to vote every 4 or 5 years, because it takes about a whole month for the vote to be tallied and the vote to take place across this vast subcontinent of a country. And with the number of people that are voting, I mean, India has a population now close to 1.35 billion people, rapidly catching up with China. And the symbolism there of what happened. And then President Trump going from this open air greeting by the Indian people to pay respect, or I think it was before he came to the stadium, from the airport, he was taken to pay respect at the ashram, which is the Hindi word for the home and the shelter where Mahatma Gandhi, you might say the founding father of India, modern India, made his home, and from where he launched his campaign for the movement to win India's independence in the 1930s. President Trump stopped there, paid his respect, and then went to the stadium. And then from the stadium, I believe he flew to Agra, where is located the Indian monument, one of the most beautiful buildings in the world, the Taj Mahal. And he was there with his wife. This is a monument of love built by the Mughal Emperor Shah Jahan to his late wife, Mumtaz Mahal, which was completed in 1643 and has been one of the wonders of the world. By the way, President Trump's own casino in New Jersey was named after Taj Mahal. He called it the Taj in New Jersey, one of his casinos that he had built, which then went down a few years later in a meltdown with the economy, in bankruptcy. So anyhow, the fact that he was taken to Agra, or he wanted to visit Agra, and then I believe tonight as we are speaking in Indian time, he's having the state dinner with the president and the dignitaries before he departs tomorrow. So this 36-hour meeting is a very, very significant journey of President Trump to what is an emerging power in Asia. India is an emerging power, and what this visit signifies. Let me just backtrack and say, for instance, the greeting of that the Indian people and the Prime Minister of India gave to President Trump was that in Indian language would be called the greeting to a Maharaja, and Maharaja means an emperor. President was greeted as an emperor. He was greeted as a man who reflects the strength and the dignity and the grandeur of what the American Republic is. In other words, as President Trump himself would say, this is the story of America's comeback, which President Trump embodies, given the past history of the last decade or more with Obama and others that have preceded President Trump. Here is a man who makes no apologies for America. Here's a man who, in a sense, embodies American exceptionalism, a man who vibrates the love and affection he has for America and the pride he holds for America, you know, in the entire slogan that is captured, make America great again and keep America great again. It is nothing, there's no apology. There is no sense of, you know, that here we are going to go around as Obama did in his trip around the world when he was the president, and he began his trip by saying it is an apology tour, that America has a lot to apologize for, if you remember. With President Trump, there's nothing of that. And what or how the Indian people received him is in fact the affirmation, I would say, the assertion that what President Trump projects about America's greatness, America's strength, America's democracy, the American people, is something that is received with the same degree of affection and the same degree of optimism by other people outside of America, as in this case with the Indian people, who are not looking up to President Trump as someone who has come to India to patronize Indians, as our prime minister did, you know, in his last trip to India before the last election, dressing up as an Indian and behaving as a clown. No, you know, this is not about patronizing Indian. It is about telling the Indians that I represent a great people, that is, Trump represents America, and you Indians are a great people too, and America loves India, you know?
I noticed, Salim, that one of the loudest and sustained applause during President Trump's speech was when he talked about eliminating Islamic terrorism and having good talks with Pakistan to make sure that the terrorist threat, is dealt with. Sustained, loud applause from not just, well, it's a majority Hindu country, but there are millions of Muslims in India, and no doubt they would be applauding this as well.
Yeah, I mean, that is a very important point that again, you have touched upon, Robert. Here is President Trump speaking to the Indian people and to the country on arrival in India, on arrival in Ahmedabad. And in his speech, he talks about what his administration has done. You know, he talks about that he has destroyed ISIS, you know, that he is taking the fight to the Islamists, that he understands India's own struggle with the Islamists. And yet, he also spoke about Pakistan, and he says that, you know, he expects to have good relationship with Pakistan, and he hopes that there will be good relationship with Pakistan, just as much there would be good relationship between India and Pakistan. But the subtext of this message and the speech in which he addresses this issue is also that India is a democracy. It is the world's largest democracy, in which India is also the world's second or third largest Muslim country. India is 1.3 billion people, with over 200 million Muslims in India who are citizens of India, who are part of India's mosaic, you might say, or India's melting pot, with a past history, a long, rich history of Islam in India, which has gone through its own turbulent time, and we don't necessarily want to get into the history. But I'm an Indian Muslim. I was born in India. I was born in Calcutta, you know, and I carry, in that sense, that part of history in which, you know, the pre-Islamic India and Muslim culture of India that Islam brought merged and fused. And so Trump going to Agra, to the Taj Mahal, where he takes his picture with his wife, the love monument of a Muslim emperor of India, to his wife, Mumtaz Mahal. These are all very symbolic. And the Indian Muslim, there's always that segment of Muslim in India who are fanatic, who are, fundamentalists or Islamists that we have talked about, and who pose a problem. And there has been a problem in India's federation with Kashmir as a result of the conflict with Pakistan. But the vast majority of India's Muslims are very proudly Indians, Religion is their personal faith and their history or their culture, but that culture is part of the many streams that makes up the Indian civilization. And India's had Muslim presidents, India have had Muslim members of the cabinet, Muslim parliamentarians. Bollywood is filled with Muslims who have contributed to the art and music and cinema history of India. And so Islam is very much a fabric of India. So when President Trump talked about the Islamists and how his administration, unlike Obama administration or the administration here in Canada for you and I, how this prime minister, the Canadian prime minister and his party, Justin Trudeau and the Liberals, have gone about pandering to the Islamists, that the Islamist sits in his government, in his parliament, is in sharp contrast to what the President Trump is talking about. And it's not only the Muslim fanatic, there are the Sikh fanatics, the people who blew up Air India, taken off from Toronto's Pearson Airport and blew it up over the Atlantic Ocean way back in 1985, which was the worst terrorist act by bringing the Air India down. And what happened? Those people are still around who did that terrorist act. And in the last visit of Justin Trudeau to India, a Sikh Canadian emerged to the embarrassment, who had been indicted for his terrorist activity, emerged in the entourage of Justin Trudeau, to the embarrassment of the Canadian High Commission and the Indian government, that Justin Trudeau would carry a man such as the one he carried with him to New Delhi, in sharp contrast to what President Trump represents, no apology, straight talking, fully understand and comprehend what the challenges are. And the Indians accordingly respond, with the same degree of warmth and honesty and admiration of what the president represents.
Yes, quite a contrast between our two nations, Canada and the United States, and our leadership or lack thereof. Salim, we'll have to leave it there, but thank you very much once again for your comments and insight.
Thank you. Thank you.